Okay, so, this is how we handled it. That's right. So you've selected to update the concept merge code field in Goldmine. So we're actually explaining here. For additional contacts in Goldmine, this field should contain a first character which stores whether merge codes was turned off or on for a contact. So if I want to just continue, actually, and I don't, if I say yes, this actually would not manage that merge code correctly. So, and what it's doing is it's noticing that I'm going after the concept merge codes as opposed to the main merge code, and that allows me to then say, oh, no, wait a minute, I actually want to leave that, put a blank space in there. So I could go ahead and actually, why don't we do this? I'll say no, which will have us continue in test mode. So rather than actually make the update, which I'd be doing this in test run mode anyway. So I'll go ahead and say no, just so I can see that before and after. So here I can actually make a modification to what it would look like. I could add a space, and that would allow me to transfer that information in. And if I had 10 or 100 of these here, I would basically want to use my Excel knowledge to add a space before all of the values before I transferred that back into Goldmine. Does that make sense? Everybody good with that?
Yeah. Why would you put that space in there again, Rob?
Pardon me?
You said it'd be good to put that space in there.
Yes.
Would you explain that again? Why would that space be needed?
Because when you're talking about, excuse me, because it has to do with the structure of how Goldmine stores merge codes and additional contacts. So the example I'm using is this one here. The merge code actually contains not just for additional contacts only, by the way, not the main one. Merge code actually contains a space, which really accounts for this check mark here, or not. If there's a space in there, then this check is on, and that's the default for all merge codes in Goldmine, for all.
Okay.
So that's why that space would go in there. If you don't put it in there, then the A would occupy that first space, and the merge code itself would just be comma space B and whatever. So that's kind of what I'm getting at.
Gotcha. Thanks.
I just want to sort of emphasize all the other kinds of merge codes work normally, like regular fields in Goldmine. So actually, I want to just go back to the same ones we were looking at. If I was going to update the email merge code, then I don't have to worry about a first character. Or if I'm working with the merge codes on the main records, then I also don't have to worry about that first character. It's only on the supplementary ones. And then MasterMine, when you do that, MasterMine throws up that little reminder when you go to do your updater. So let me just point out. See, I'm going to go ahead and make like I'm going to do some updating of merge codes. Or email merge codes. So I go up here and put in some values. Now, by the way, let's say I want to put an A in all of these. I'm going to do it for all these ones down here. Note that the ones that have no email address and therefore no email record ID are not going to get updated because there's no email record for that merge code to go into. Something that I'm going to add within the next few weeks is the ability to actually go in here and type in a new email address. Whatever, if you know what that is. So I'll make it so you'll be able to add an email address here, and then when you go to run updater, you would. Now this is going to be a bit of a problem in Excel. Let's see, how do you have this not? Oh, okay. Click, and go on there to, or excuse me, let's say, click once to follow, click and hold to select this cell. Okay. So if I want to select this cell, if I just click once briefly, it will actually pop over to my email client, Goldmine, and try to send an email to that location because it's hyperlinked. But if I click and hold for a sec, then it becomes additional, held on there additionally with the other one. So that's a good thing to know. That's just an Excel trick there. So click and hold it for a second, and then it doesn't hyperlink out. So, but what I'm getting at is when you type in a new email address and you want this to go in the build that's coming out here soon, when you go to run updater, it will note that you've got something selected here that has no record ID for that particular one, and it'll ask you, do you want to actually create a new email record for the ones that have no record ID yet? So that will allow you to really, clean up this list a lot better because you'll be able to, work any of these things. And at the same time, once you've got an email address in there, doing the merge codes part of it will be that much easier. One thing to note, however, is let's say I run Updater right now. I'm not actually going to do this, but I run Updater. I pop in new email addresses for ones that didn't exist yet. I don't yet have the new record ID for that, so I'm going to need to go back after I've put in my email addresses. Let's say I want to do merge codes as well to go with it. I'll want then to go back to my original, refresh so that I've got the new email address comes in with the record IDs, and then drill down again, and that will give me the new email record ID so that I can then do my merge codes, my email merge codes, and so on.
So you're saying, Rob, in the future release, in one single pass, it'll update the email field and the email merge codes?
No. What it will in that pass, what it will do is it'll add the new email address into Goldmine, creating a record to hold that email address at the same time, and therefore creating a merge codes field as well, but it'll be empty. Mechanically, what happens in the background is when you add a new email address, it creates a new subrecord in Goldmine. And that subrecord contains a merge codes field, and so a second pass will be required to update that merge codes field, because in that only after you do that second pass will you know what record ID you're actually working with.
Okay, that's what I was trying to figure out. So you run it and update the email, then you run it again and update the merge code.
Correct. And when we say run it, really you just have to go back to your pivot table and refresh it.
Okay.
And it'll catch that new email with the record ID that goes with it. I know I kind of belabored that point a little bit, but I think it's good to work with those merge codes.